Where Sean Levine will step into the cage with Brendan Tobin in Are You Gonna Fight Me?
I'm gonna fight your ass.
Here on Tapped Out.
That's right, fight me like a man.
Only on the BetQL network.
You know the rules. I want a good, clean fight. When I tell you to break, I want you to step back up my command and break. Now go back to the corner and come out fighting at the bell.
At this point, I'm just deciding, do I give you the Masvidal knee or do I give you the John Jones elbows? Welcome back into round 2 here. BetQL Network with Brendan Tobin. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine. The segment is called You're Gonna Fight Me. You're going to fight me if I say John Jones needs to beat Ciryl Gane to be considered the undisputed GOAT.
No, that's ridiculous. I feel like a lot of that stuff is cemented already. I feel like the only thing that this win or this run at heavyweight really does for him is no one ever catching him ever. I feel like that's what he's fighting for right now because, I'm sure somebody could, come along. LeBron's about to catch Kareem in scoring. Like, you never thought that record would be touched. This is what this is. This is like his definitive stamp on no one will touch me. This will never be a discussion. I am the greatest the sport has ever seen, and nobody can come close to it. That's what I feel like this run is. If he loses to Ciryl Gane after a 3-year, everybody's telling me 3-year layoff, I don't trust the GOAT. I don't trust him doing this. Then why should that be a big dent on his legacy?
So you think even if he loses, what if he goes out there and gets knocked out in the first round? You don't think that takes anything away from John Jones' career? Of course it does. What are you talking about?
I mean, why? I mean, he's got more title defenses than anybody. He's the undisputed champion at a division for a long, long time.
Well,
nobody even stepped. And by the way, a division that still doesn't have an identity since he's left, and he's been gone for 3 years.
Oh, that's been lame. Since he left, it's like, man, they really miss John Jones. Yeah. But then again, he makes the heavyweight division all that much more exciting once we finally get a chance to see him in there. It's because of the O. That's why I think people respect John, because you'll get into a conversation with geeks like us, and somebody will tell you it's Anderson Silva. Somebody will tell you it's GSP. And somebody will tell you it's Khabib. I think that, like, the Khabib argument is only because he's undefeated. Yeah, his resume is really impressive, and obviously his background and his come up and beating Conor and all those different things, but it's because he's undefeated. And John, don't tell me he's not undefeated. I get it. He's got the one loss on his record. I think that's part of the allure of John Jones, where if he doesn't have that anymore and he loses, it's not like he loses and walks away. He just signed a big long-term contract where if he loses, he has to come back. And then what happens? So I don't know, man. I think right now, I think John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. But that can go away. That happens sometimes.
I think the interesting thing is I think the UFC needs him to win because as you're talking about the state of the sport,
absolutely,
them letting Francis walk, I think that's more on the line than his legacy. To me, his legacy is this is sprinkles on his legacy because that ice cream sundae has already been made and it is beautiful, Cold Stone style.
No, it's really good. And I'll take the extra sprinkles and the cherry on top. A little bit of whipped cream too, if you don't mind. You're going to fight me if I say that it feels like the return of John Jones is getting people more excited than the return of Conor McGregor. Even the last time we saw these guys come back, like, I don't know if it's the long layoff. I don't know if it's that we're just looking for the dude. I don't know if it's because Francis just left, but like this feels different with John coming back.
I think that I don't want to fight you on that just because it's hard to have a comparison to it. I'm curious what that feels like when we get the news that Conor comes back and who is it going to be against. If it is I will say if it's a Michael Chandler, something like that, then I'm going to be more like, you know what? I think I'm more interested about the debut of John Jones. And as you say, like, we're nerds for this stuff. The John Jones move to heavyweight has been something we've been waiting on for a very, very long time. Whereas Conor, he's coming back. I'm intrigued to see him. Certainly he's coming back from a devastating injury, but I don't really know what this fight is going to be for. So unless you're going to shock me and tell me this is going to be for the welterweight title or something like that, no, I'm kind of with you on that. I feel like the John Jones, it's fresher, it's new, it's something we've been waiting on for a while, and I can't wait for it.
You want me to shock you? I'll shock you right here. Check this out. So Gaethje and Fiziev is official, right? That's going down. And it's going down at UFC 286, the co-main event. You talked about it before. That's on the Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman card at the top of the marquee. I've got Fiziev winning this fight Would it shock you if I told you that Justin Gaethje's last opponents, if you're talking about the last 4 guys that he's won against, have lost 19 fights in a row combined?
Wow,
that's right.
Really? That actually does stun me.
Dude, 19. So I was doing the research on this because I was like, I kind of like Gaethje because he's only lost to Khabib and Oliveira in the last few years. And if you only lost to Khabib and Charles Oliveira, those are Hall of Famers. I'm not going to hold that against you. But then I looked at his wins, PT. His wins in that same time period, Cowboy, Tony Ferguson, Edson Barboza, James Vick, man. I did the math. I counted it up. 19 losses in a row for the last 4 guys that he's beat. So it's like, we don't know a lot about Fiziev still. Are we sure that we know enough about Justin Gaethje?
So you're saying the Colorado guy's got a Pac-12 schedule is what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, I am.
That you read it that way, that does stun me. Yes. I would have figured he would have had a little bit more in there. But yeah, that makes, I mean, reading it back, it does make sense. He's still entertaining as hell. I mean, I still love Justin Gaethje and watching him fight, and I can't wait for this one. But I think Fiziev is a guy who can present some serious problems for him for sure.
Power Slap League made its debut earlier this week. I'm giving it 3. I'll give it 3 seasons, 3 years, and then it's done. You gonna fight me?
Wow. I think it's gonna be sooner than that. I think this.
Really?
First of all, I don't think the debut ratings are very strong. I'm seeing a lot of outrage for it on social media, which it speaks to what it's like, I guess, having Dana White behind this. I guess that people are just, because it's not like something new. Like, people have been doing Power Slap before. It's not a new sport, but I guess, you put something on TBS, it just gets a little bit more social media buzz. But I feel like this is going to be one of those. It's going to be a one and doneer. I would be stunned if it continues after this season.
It's got the money behind it, though, and it's got Dana's backing. So I don't think he's going to fold that easily, because that's embarrassing, and he's definitely a guy of pride. I think that it goes at least a couple of seasons, a couple of years. They hope that something catches. Because to be fair, the UFC was basically done for a while, even at the beginning of his reign. And then it wasn't. And then it became this monster. So it just doesn't feel like he's got to give up on it that quick. Although, have you talked to anybody that likes it or that watches it or that cares about it? Like, I heard Daniel Cormier talking it up, but that just felt like he was being a company man.
I see a lot of people saying, people are upset because they're like, oh, this is unsanctioned, CTE. John McCarthy, big John McCarthy came out pretty strong against it. This is basically sanctioned CTE performance. I just don't know how you build a star in it. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you can't defend. Like, is the guy who can it feels like if you're the guy who can take the best slap, that's more impressive than being the guy who can give the best slap.
No, it's the guy that gives the best slap. And that's where you get your, I think the only way to have the star is if you get this big, scary, like Viking looking dude that knocks everybody out with one slap. That's how you get appeal. Because I believe right now there's several rounds of this thing, and you're going to tell them if you're going to slap with the right or the left, and on 3 or 5. It's very weird. If there was a dude that came out there and you had heard that he has gotten, what do they call them, fights, slap-offs, with 10 different guys, and he knocked them all out with one slap, you wouldn't watch his 11th fight? Be honest with me.
I mean, how long are the fights? 30 seconds? I guess I'll tune in or see it on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't, it's like one of those things like, yeah, I'm never going to say I'm not going to watch. I've watched the lowest level of bare knuckle fighting. I'll go watch anything. I mean, if people saw some of the places I've gone to watch fights, yeah, there's not a very big line for me as to what I won't watch. I just don't know how this becomes successful, but I could be wrong. I don't, but I don't feel like I'm going to be. I feel like this is one of those things where like it's going to die a pretty quick death.
No, I've watched many third world fights in the middle of the night that I'm like, I don't know what this kickboxing stuff is, but it's entertaining me. I mean, I've watched guys fight bears in cages. If it's going down, I can bet on it. I'm watching it. By the way, this is the BetQL network with producer Jake Noaker and my co-host Brendan Tobin. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine. Now that it's 2023, are you going to fight me if I say Paddy Pimblett has become an unliked fighter? I think that he's basically disliked by most fight fans.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you on that. I feel like, first of all, I feel like a lot of these fighters have such a dedicated fan base that when the fighter talks, that they have a following that keeps up with them. Like if you told me is Patty Finley going to get cheered or booed the next time he walks out to the cage, and it's not in London, I'm going to say he's going to get cheered. I don't think he's going to get booed. He had a bad week. Don't get me wrong. The Ariel Helwani stuff was embarrassing. Him getting the gift was embarrassing, but I feel like all in all, people want to see him in the cage. They want to see him entertain. I feel like he has gotten the buzz behind him for a reason. So yeah, I think it was a bad last fight for him, but I feel like it's kind of his first mess up, so I feel like it's forgiven.
What about Hamzat Chimaev? Do you think he gets booed next time he goes? Let's say it's in Vegas.
Yes, he does, but I think people like booing him. Like that's one of those things where I think he likes being the bad guy, and I think I respect that. I respect the idea that, you know, Chael Sonnen says like nobody wants to be the bad guy, even though, you know, and that's why there's so few people doing it. Because I think for a while he was trying to be Khabib 2.0, and you can't. Like Khabib's already Khabib. I feel like it's better to be more heinous, more hated, not care about what weight class you're at, all that stuff. I think it kind of lends to the character of him being menacing.
And he looks that way. Like he can play a great villain, like in Hollywood I'm talking about. So yeah, that'd be cool. I'm all down for that. If right now I was looking at the pound for pound rankings, and I know I care about these more than you do. Right now it goes Volkanovski, Usman, Izzy, Aljo at number 4. I guess he should be. And Islam Makhachev at number 5. We're going to see Volk fight Islam here coming up in just a couple of months. Let's say that Volkanovski loses that fight, like the odds makers tell us he's going to right now. He's a huge underdog. You get 3-1 money right now on Alexander Volkanovski. I don't think he should slide any further than number 2 in the pound for pound rankings if he loses. You going to fight me on that?
No, I'm not going to fight you on that, but I feel like that's going to be pretty short-lived for him because I feel like, you know, first of all, if John comes back and wins, he's going to be number 1 again. If Kamaru Usman wins, he could be number 1 again. So I feel like this stay for Volk could be, I get what you're saying, but I feel like that's going to be a short-lived stay at number 2. And I feel like if Leon beats Kamaru, I feel like he's going to vault him. So probably more than likely he's going to be at best 3 if he loses to Islam. If he beats Islam, I feel like that could be one of those things where even if John wins, he'll still keep his number 1 spot.
That was great stuff, especially when you hit puberty live on the radio. If he beats him, I'm with you. I wasn't even thinking about that. You're right. John, you think John comes back, wins a fight, and he's the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't?
You some John Jones. How much money are you going to empty? Are you going to convince your wife to empty the bank account when John Jones fights Sergio Gane and John comes in as an underdog? And you can get him at like plus 110. Are you going to say, sweetie, we need to sit down and have a conversation because I'm going to take out blank amount of dollars and I think we're going to win and go on a vacation. Like, is that a conversation you're going to
have? Don't be silly, dude. The key to any happy marriage are secrets. Come on, dude. Relax.
Okay. So that's a yes.
What are you talking about?
Which is cool. And I know you guys have this great relationship, but the truth is, yeah. Oh, I got one for you. You're going to fight me if I tell you Tua ain't going to be your starting quarterback next year in Miami. I don't know who it's going to be, but it ain't going to be that guy at the beginning of the year. They have to upgrade if they plan on doing anything. You going to fight me?
Why do you say upgrade? You mean just because of concussions? Because he was really good.
Well, not only is that obviously has become a major issue where he's the guy where if anything happens, you have to treat him with the kitty gloves. But on top of that, it just feels like, could he get them back to where they were this year? Sure. Could they maybe make a move, try to get a guy? I don't know if he needs to move up in the draft, whatever it is. I just don't. You tell me. Is Tua the long-term option out there?
I mean, like you said, the key thing, it's just a matter of health with him, which is a big if. I get you. They were kind of weird concussions. These are not like, you got messed up kind of hits. Like he just kind of kept, other than the one in Cincy where he got slammed, like the one in Buffalo, he got pushed back, fell in the back of his head. This other one in Green Bay, nobody even detected it during the game. That to me was the most concerning thing, though, is because they found out basically because he couldn't remember stuff that he was seeing on film. But as far as talent, I mean, he was number 1 in QBR this year. He was fantastic when he was out there. Everybody had this concern with him and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill put up the best numbers of his career. The deep ball between him and Tyreek was beautiful this year. But you know, it is a concern. I'm not going to say it's not a concern. I just don't know if the options out there are that great that people make them out to be. Like, did you see Tom Brady against the Cowboys? I'm not into that. Derek Carr, get the hell out of here. Like, the other options aren't that great. And it doesn't sound like the Ravens are letting go of Lamar Jackson. So I think Tua is the guy. They came out pretty strong for that too. And the head coach, I genuinely mean it. The head coach does love the guy.
It is a little bit like breaking up with your girlfriend. You kind of got to see what else is out there for you before you break up with her, right? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe what I have isn't that bad. Speaking of not that bad, and speaking of John Jones, coming up next, we're going to talk to a guy that fought John Jones. In fact, gave him a good fight. Anthony Lionheart Smith, the alternate for tonight's main event, joins us next right here. You're locked into the BetQL Network.